Eric,
Here.
Dan, George,
Here.
Barry,
Here.
Sherelle.
Here.
We have a quorum. We will proceed. Before I move into the agenda, I would just like to make a couple of quick comments. We have a lot of people here tonight. We've got a lot of ground to cover tonight. And I'm assuming that not all of you have been to a planning and zoning meeting in the past. So I'm going to just take a few seconds and tell you how the meeting is run and how we're going to proceed tonight. Usually staff will present the application, and then we'll ask if the board has any questions about the application. And if there are no questions, or when the questions are answered, then we will open the public hearing, and usually the applicant comes up and addresses the project. And then the floor is open for questions from anybody in the audience. If you have a question, please raise your hand and we will call upon you. And when you come up, please state your name into the microphone so that we have it on the recording. Have I missed anything? Okay, Michelle, the floor is yours. Thank you. Disposition of the minutes. What are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second. Further discussion? Nobody wants them read aloud? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, Michelle.
Okay. So the first one we have this evening is LU-0010-25. Ed Rintamaki on behalf of Don and Jason Hansen. They're requesting for 2 newly created proposed lots to remain in the agricultural zoning district that do not meet the minimum required acreage. This is located in the southeast of the northeast and MS 15-0052, all in section 29, township 155 north, range 102 west, which is Mont Township. Mont Township is undecided with their recommendation, and they did say that they do not oppose this request as it is an improvement over the previous request to make 4 lots and rezone to residential. However, they are disappointed with the removal of 40 acres from the agricultural production moving toward development and therefore do not recommend approval. So the applicant, they are requesting the minor subdivision, which would create 2 lots. Parent parcels are approximately 49.98 acres and within both the agricultural and rural residential zoning districts. The newly created lots would be approximately 31.07 acres and approximately 18.91 acres. The applicant is requesting a variance for these lots to be within the agricultural zoning district. The applicant had originally submitted this as a 4-lot minor subdivision with a zone change to rural residential for those lots. When our office solicited township comment, Mont Township did give a recommendation of denial at that time. After receiving the recommendation, I had let Ed Rintamaki and Jason both know of what was said. That time, Jason reached out to members of the township board, and after those discussions, decided to make it a 2-lot minor subdivision and the variance as it is presented today. It was Jason's impression doing this would ease the concerns of the township. Hansens are building a home currently on the proposed 18.91 acre parcel. Access to the smaller lot will be taken off of 56th Street Northwest, while access to the larger lot is off of 145th Avenue Northwest, which is also known as County Road 1. The minor subdivision is currently going through the review process with the necessary county departments. The lots will be known as MS 25-0011 and MS 25-0012, and recordation of the plat will be contingent on the approval of the variance.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions for Michelle? Hearing none, we will open the public hearing. Does the applicant wish to come up and speak to his application? Okay. Anybody else? I did have a request from Blaine Jorgensen of the Mont Township Board to read a statement that he would like to have made tonight if he could be here, but he was heading to a graduation. Blaine asked that that I remind the planning and zoning members what the Yellowstone Valley looks like east of Billings. And that it looks like that's where we're headed for miles around Williston. That was his comment. Thank you. Commissioners, questions, comments? Boy, I'm just out of practice, aren't I? Any other public comment? Second time, any other public comment? And third and final, I'll close the public hearing. Questions?
Michelle, could you zoom in there? How many houses are in that intersection area right now, or how many lots are there?
Below that, there are, I believe, 4 lots. There's a home right where the mouse is. There's a home there, and then there is a vacant 10-acre lot right to the south of that one, and then another home right south of there. The Hansons do currently have a home on the parcel that is towards the top of that yellow shaded area. And then on their 40 acres that they purchased, they do have a building permit in the system for a home on that parcel. One, two, three, 4, I believe, currently. Can you zoom out a little for me, please? After you turn the corner there, it's pretty much farmland. And then there is like the right at the top of the screen, if you scroll up a little bit, there's homes right there. There's 2 homes on that lot right there.
Okay, if I could add to that. There are 2 40-acre parcels to the east side of what traditionally that's been called the Blue Farm since Jabe owned it. When he bought it, he painted every building blue. And all those buildings have been torn down or moved now. But to the right, there was some land sold last year. There's 2 40-acre lots right there that are in the works of being sold for homes. And then coming up County 1, we could go slide it up a little bit, please. There's a total of nine lots if you count the ones that are being developed. 7, 8, 9. Other comments? Other questions? We have closed the public hearing, Jason, but let's just see if somebody has a question that they want to ask you. Anybody have a question for Jason? Because once we've closed the public hearing, we've closed the public hearing. Unless you have other wishes. Thanks for coming up, though. Other questions, comments? How do you wish to proceed?
I would make a motion to approve the variance and follow staff recommendations.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Further comments? Second time. Third and last time. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Barry,
Yes.
James,
Oh.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
No.
Sherelle,
No.
Eric,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Dan.
No. How do we end up?
Tie.
Would you say that a little louder?
It was a tie.
We have to have a positive motion. Someone else wishes to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Barry,
No,
James,
Yes.
George,
No.
Mark,
Yes.
Sherelle,
No.
Eric, Eric,
Yes.
Brett,
No.
Dan.
Yes. Are we still tied?
Yep.
Karen, what are your thoughts? How do we proceed from here?
Oh, yeah. Either you can have further discussion and see if somebody can change their mind, or you can just consider it denied because you didn't get a positive motion to approve it, so.
Okay. How does the board wish to proceed?
I'll just put my 2 cents in now. I just think we're clustering too many houses out in the country again. We're getting an intersection that, I mean, how far are we gonna go each direction to where we end up with a housing development out there again? And we've had too many of these troubles already, so that's why I'm against it.
Can you zoom out, please?
Because didn't we approve that, or we denied it, but the commission approved that, Patty Stillwell family, what's the name of them? Johnson. Isn't that right up in this area? too?
Yeah, I
That's on
think
the-
it is
that's on the
farther west.
Kenora Highway.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But the commission denied that additional home on that lot.
What did it-
Yeah, the county denied that. The county commission denied that one.
Can you use your mics?
I was using the mic. Is there a use besides talking into it?
so I'm assuming they currently own the land. And if you want to parcel off a part of property that you own to build a house for yourself, that's personal property rights, and that I just you won't change my mind on that. I mean, they ought to be able to build their home on their land if they choose. So, my 2 cents.
Would sell the other lot to somebody else?
Well, I don't believe, I guess I don't know. That's not been mentioned. That's not part of that isn't the question. The question is for this variance for their home. What they do with their land in the future, that'll be a question for another day.
But when it went from 4 lots to 2 lots, my assumption is you're selling lots off out in the country.
Well, I don't think that's illegal, but it's still it's their land. They should be able to build a home on their property, whether or not they sell it in the future. I mean, if in the future maybe it might get denied, but as it sits right now, the question is, there's a variance for a smaller than a 40-acre parcel on land that they own. That's the question, and I don't really see an issue with that.
If we're going to continue approving variances for lots less than 40 acres remaining in the agricultural district, what is the point of having a 40-acre requirement to build a home in an agricultural district and remain agricultural?
I'm glad you brought that up because I was not a fan of the 40-acre parcel limit to begin with.
Okay? Thank you for expressing that.
Do we need to ask the applicant the lots are for?
Go ahead, George.
It's a question for the applicant. I saw you shaking your head. You'll have to come up here, but are you planning on selling that extra lot?
Jason Hansen here. Yes, my 22-year-old boy is buying 20 acres in a house. The house is already there. I guess if it does, and I talked to Blaine, that surprises me that he wrote that because he told me if I did a 2030, the township would approve it. And I did that. I went to his house. I showed him the diagram. He says, great. And good to go. And we had the conversation about, yes, the Yellowstone, but his nephew is there. And I said, maybe he'll want to move over here someday and you'll probably give him some land and his kids and his kids. And he agreed, you know, so yes, there's going to be more houses. And I think there's 29 homes in Mont County right now. I counted myself. I don't know if they're all being lived in. You know, there's like 38 oil wells, but so, I mean, the residential is not real big. But yes, to your question, my kid is buying the 20 acres, sorry, to go off course.
Okay, just in response, that was at 11:08 this morning. He sent me that message at 11 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
As long as you're up, I have a quick question for you.
Yep.
Access onto County 1, can you point out where that's going to be? Because there's a pretty significant hill there.
It's access on 56 and the approach is approved and it's already in. The house is there. The house is on the 40. We're just looking to get it on the 20, but it's on 56.
Can you
So-
zoom in again?
Michelle, say that again, please.
So where you see that green dot, that's where the new home is being built currently, and there is approved access, and they've taken access there. For the other parcel, which it's currently 2 parcels the way it is, and they want to just change the layout. So where it kind of jogs over, where that yellow piece is, go take your mouse right there. So there is already access to that home off of County Road 1, and it's been there for, I'm assuming, as long as the house has been there. Correct. And the other house will be taken off of 56 off of the top.
Yeah, that's at the top of the hill. I was wondering about it, whether there was going to be something below the hill. I
No.
drive that road a minimum of twice a day.
No, I mean, Jason could answer as well, but their intention is so the line where it kind of juts up, that it just goes straight up to 56th, and they don't plan to do anything with that land behind them.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Unless someone's willing to make a motion, I'm going to move on to the next application.
Well, just for, now that we have, now that we have it kind of cleared up in my mind, where it's at and who's going to be living there, I would try it again. I would make a motion to approve the variance following staff comments.
And a second.
I'll second.
Further discussion? One more time.
Oh, I
I'm
just got a
sorry,
question.
Mark.
Township comments, the very last line is, the township does not recommend approval. Am I reading that right?
Looks like they contradict
Yeah, they also
themselves.
marked undecided on the
Yep,
box.
say undecided, and then they say, then at the end they say, do not recommend.
Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Barry,
Yes.
James,
No.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
No.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Dan.
No.
Approved.
Thank you. The motion carries. On to the next project.
Okay, so this next one is LU-0015-25, which is Tom Lashowski on behalf of Colleen Rock. They're requesting a zone change to rural residential for a newly created lot. Parent property is currently within the agricultural zoning district. So it's located in the east half of the Northwest. Government Lot 1, which is the Northwest, and Government Lot 2 being the southwest of the Northwest in Section 18, Township 156 North, Range 97 West. This is in Equality Township, and we did not receive any township comment back from them. So the applicant is requesting the minor subdivision, which would create 2 lots. The parent parcel is approximately 131 acres and is within the agricultural zoning district. The newly created lots would be 112.21 acres and 18.36 acres. The larger lot will remain in the agricultural zoning district, while the applicant is requesting the zone change to the rural residential zoning district for the proposed 18.36 acre parcel. Purpose of this minor subdivision is to separate the home and outbuildings from the tillable land located on the property. Access to the lot with the home and outbuildings is taken off of US Highway 2, while the larger lot takes access off of 117th Avenue Northwest. The minor subdivision is currently going through the minor review process, with the lots to be known as MS 25-0015 and MS 25-0016. Recordation of the plat will be contingent on the approval of the zone change.
Any questions for staff? Any questions? Now we will open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak to the issue? Second time. Any comments on the application? And third and final. Close the public hearing. Comments?
Make a motion to approve with staff comment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
James,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, so the next one we have is LU-0017-25, Ed Rintamaki on behalf of TJC Smith Farms LLLP and Jennifer Smith. They're requesting a zone change to the rural residential zoning district for a proposed 7.97 acre parcel. This property is located in the west half of the northeast, southeast northeast, northeast northeast, and a tract in the northeast northeast of Section 29, Township 156 North, Range 100 West, which is East Fork Township, and they have recommended approval on this project. The applicant is requesting the minor subdivision, which would create 2 lots. The parent parcels are approximately 160.17 acres total and are within the agricultural zoning district. The newly created lots will be 152.20 acres and 7.97 acres. The larger lot will remain in the agricultural zoning district, while the applicant is requesting the zone change to rural residential zoning district for the smaller 7.97 acre parcel. The purpose of the minor subdivision is to separate the home from the tillable land. Access to the home is off of 133rd Avenue Northwest, which is also known as County Road 9. The larger proposed lot takes access off of 62nd Street Northwest. The minor subdivision is currently going through the review process, with the lots to be known as MS 25-0017 and MS 25-0018. Recordation of the plat will be contingent on the approval of the zone change.
Any questions? Hearing none. I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak to this issue? Any comments? Last call. Any comments? I will close the hearing. Commissioners? Questions, comments?
I'd make a motion to approve following staff comments.
Thank you, Barry.
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, so the next one we have is LU-0019-25, Ed Rintamaki on behalf of Steve Mortensen. They're requesting a zone change to rural residential for 4 proposed 10-acre lots. This is located in MS 23-0015, which is in the southwest of Section 25, Township 154 North, Range 103 West, which is Round Prairie Township. Round Prairie Township is undecided on their recommendation, and they stated that their concerns are easements into the 3rd and 4th 10-acre lots, access for safety reasons in and out of those 10-acre lots, and are these new lots hurting the potential sale of current lots that are located within Rolling Hills subdivision. The applicant is requesting the minor subdivision, which would create 5 lots. The parent parcel is approximately 120 acres and is within the agricultural zoning district. The newly created lots will be approximately 80 acres and 4 lots of 10 acres each. The 80-acre parcel will remain in the agricultural zoning district, while the applicant is requesting the zone change to rural residential for the 4 10-acre parcels. Purpose of this minor subdivision is to create larger rural lots for future residential development. Access to the lots is through a private access road off of 148th Avenue Northwest. The minor subdivision is currently going through the review process, and recordation of the plat will be contingent on the approval of the zone change. The lots will be known as MS 25-0019, 0020, 0021, 0022, and 0023.
Any questions for staff? There's just a lot of paper shuffling going on up here.
Michelle, where else is residential in that area?
So all of the residential, like Rolling Hills subdivision, is right north of there. Yep. And then Highway 2, so it's all of like the yellow and the golden color.
And do we know if they're filled, right, or are they all the properties that are there are spoken for? Is that
In Rolling Hills subdivision, I'm unsure if they
Okay.
all have.
well,
Yeah.
the little green dot? It looks like there's.
There's, yeah, so if there's a green dot, then something has triggered a building permit has been pulled, so.
But we don't know if the lots have actually sold or not, though, right?
As far
Yeah.
as I know, there's houses on all those lots now, except the ones way over in the corner, right below the light yellow there. And the guy that owns that divided it off because the end part of that is not buildable. It's kind of a coulee with water in it. Came in here about sometime last year and asked to subdivide that in half.
Thanks, Sherelle. Any other questions? I'll open the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak to this application?
My name is Steve Mortensen, landowner of the property. And as far as the lots that we originally built in there, we only have one lot left. And we are putting a modular home on that one this year. And the reason I went ahead to look at doing this, I've just had people request, wanting to build out in that area. And on the west side of that, there's a good township road. I have power there. I have rural water. We will have to build a road into the east and bring water lines into the east. I guess with the program the county has just initiated now for houses, in Williams County, I mean, I think people are looking at these parcels because they're affordable to build on and put a house on.
Any questions for Steve?
Yes, I do have a question. Will this be part of Rolling Hills and will they be covered by the homeowners agreement?
No, it won't be part of Rolling Hills. It'll be their own residential lots. And that road coming in, these people that are on these 4 lots will have to be aware that they'll have to be maintenance on that road.
Because you'll build a road in there, because that'll be divided into 4
I'm
lots, so
sorry.
a road will run
Can't
in.
hear you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go to each of the
It would-
lots?
Correct.
On that 40, there'd be a road built in the middle and then the 4 lots.
I see. So it'll be clear to them that they'll be responsible for that.
The who?
The owners?
Yes.
Sure, I was pushing the button. Maybe it's Steve that you can't hear in the back of the room.
I can't hear.
For the people who are enjoying tonight's entertainment, a staff member in the back holds up a sign constantly that says, use the mic. The acoustics in this room are just horrible.
Yeah.
My boyfriend.
I can hear that.
We must have somebody on the phone connected to the meeting.
Steve, the road coming in, is that Township Road?
Yes, I believe Sherelle, the Round Prairie Township did go ahead and take over that road.
Anybody else for Steve? Steve, would you address the concerns that the township board had? Easements into the 3rd, 4th, 10-acre lots?
The what?
The easements into the 3rd and 4th lots?
He wants you to address like their concerns that they
Okay, I mean, when we go ahead and survey out these lots, there will be an easement put in there for the road.
And they do have a development agreement as well, or road maintenance agreement in there that they're working on for that particular road.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Steve? Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Last time, anybody else? What are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve with staff recommendations.
And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, James. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mark,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Yes.
Barry, James,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, so the next one we have tonight is LU-0024-25, which is Ashley and Andrew Borrud, who are requesting a variance for a proposed approximately 1.08 acre lot to remain in the rural residential zoning district that does not meet the minimum required acreage. This is located in the northeast, southeast of Section 1, Township 155 North, Range 103 West, which is Hebron Township, and they have recommended approval on this particular project. The applicant is requesting a minor subdivision which will create 2 lots. The parent parcel is approximately 10 acres and within the rural residential zoning district. The newly created lots will be approximately 8.97 acres and 1.08 acres. The larger lot meets the minimum required acreage for the rural residential zoning district, while the applicant is requesting the variance for the 1.08 acre lot to also remain in the rural residential zoning district. The applicants were approved for a conditional use permit on this property in October of 2023 for a second dwelling. Since that time, they have moved a modular home onto the property and have applied for a state burn permit to burn down the existing farmstead home. However, with the current burn ban, the applicants are moving forward with demolishing the old farmhouse instead. And you do have a picture in your packet, or a picture that I printed out and gave you tonight, showing that the home is actually gone. They have finished and finalized the demolition of that second home. And the purpose of the minor subdivision is to separate the modular home from the rest of the property so the owners can obtain financing from their bank to build their forever home on the larger lot. The existing farmhouse will be gone prior to the new home being occupied. Access to the subject properties will be through an existing access road off of 59th Street Northwest. Minor subdivision is going through the review process, and the lots will be known as MS 25-0024 and MS 25-0025. Recordation of the plat will be contingent on the approval of the variance.
Questions for Michelle?
Does the county health require, I thought they required 2 acres for a sewer.
With them being able to, they have septic out there, and the septic is going to be all contained within the 1 acre. They've been in contact with Upper Missouri District Health, and they're aware of what's going on, and they wouldn't even be subdividing if the bank would allow them to get the financing for to build their new home, but they're kind of being forced into this.
Anyone else? I'll open the public hearing. Andrew, Ashley, any comments?
Andrew Borrowed.
Ashley Borrowed. Hi.
Any questions for us, or? I think she explained it pretty well. It's just, we have no intention of selling it or splitting it. It's only for financing reasons, to get the grain bins, Quonset, and the other modular that we'd be living in while we build, separated from our loan.
Commissioners, questions? Folks, what happens to the mobile home there that's there?
We would like to keep it.
As another home or another occupant, or what are your plans for it?
Office, additional space for me to work.
And it wouldn't be a permanent residence for anyone, no, it'd just be for our own personal use.
Okay. Any other questions? No other questions? Final time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Close the hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve with staff comments.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, George. No other comments? Roll call, please.
Sherrill,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, so the next item we have today is LU-0021-25, which is Chris Hayes with Diamond B Companies. On behalf of Roger and Rita Wickham, they're requesting a zone change and a variance for 2 already platted lots. The lots are known as Lot 4R and 5R, Block 2 of Ponderosa Subdivision, First Edition amended, a re-subdivision of Lot 6, Block 2, which is in Section 29, Township 155 North, Range 100 West, which is Farron Township. Farron Township has recommended denial for this project. The applicants are requesting the zone change and variance for 2 already platted lots. The lots are currently vacant land and within the urban commercial zoning district. The lots are approximately 9.49 acres and 10.41 acres. The applicant is requesting the zone change to agricultural zoning district. The variance is to allow the zone change of the parcels as they do not meet the minimum required acreage for the agricultural zoning district. Purpose of this zone change and variance is for a potential sand and gravel pit on the parcels. Access to these lots is taken off of Cartwright Loop.
Commissioners, any questions for staff?
Cartwright Loop, is that a private road or a county road, or what is it?
Believe it's private road or for access into that subdivision.
So is there a road maintenance agreement with anybody, or who takes care of it?
From what I'm aware, that the people in that area maintain the road as well as I believe the Wickhams do as well, help with it.
Thank you.
I have a question. Are sand and gravel pits not permitted in the industrial?
No, they are only a conditional use in agricultural zone properties, or they are allowed use in heavy industrial only.
Any other questions? I will open the public hearing. Please state your name when you step up to the mic.
Yeah. Good evening, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Chris Selsley, and I am a land and legal contractor. I work with Basin Sand, and here to present on behalf of them and the Wickhams. I just wanted to go through, there is a handout, but I wanted to go through a brief history of that, or brief history of the area before I go through that with you, which will further outline exactly what they're trying to do here and how they're trying to mitigate some of the questions that have arisen with the project. So with me here tonight is Blaine Mosby, the Director of Business Management for Basin Sand and Diamond B Companies, and of course the Wickham family. Together we'll present the proposed sand mine operation located to the northeast of Williston. A brief history of the area before I get into the proposed operation. Roger Wickham and family have owned the property for over 25 years. This is well before the city established the ETJ and mining restrictions for sand and gravel. This was also a time before much of the development that has happened in this area. As you will be able to see on the included maps, the character of the area is still very much a mix of rural and light industrial zoning, which includes sand and gravel mining. When the ETJ was established back in 2016, there were several active gravel mining operations, including the one that's still visible on the Wickham property. It's our understanding that a lot of these sand and gravel mines were grandfathered into existing operations, but the Wickhams was not. Though that was unfortunate, as he was still mining at that time, the Wickhams and Basin Sand are here tonight, following the permitting process to respectfully ask for the proper permission to proceed on this venture. A little bit of background on the entities involved. Roger Wickham has supplied sand and gravel and aggregate before and after the establishment of the ETJ to several local businesses and entities, including the city of Williston, which was used to build a new city shop. He has extensive excavation and reclamation experience and will be overseeing the reclamation of his family's lands. Basin Sands investors have several successful businesses based in Western North Dakota and have always worked well with local, state, and federal authorities to observe the rules set which govern their respective ventures. In my 4 years of working with them, they've never had a violation. They've never had a contractual problem. If any problem has arisen, they've always addressed it professionally and immediately. With that, we can go through the handout that was passed out to you earlier tonight, which includes the project overview and the operations. So the project overview, this project proposes to supply sand to the oil and gas industry using local resources as an alternative to the sand that's imported right now from Minnesota and Wisconsin. I'd like to point out there are other operations like this happening in the state of North Dakota now. The process entails extracting sand and screening and washing it at a location that is currently established as a sand and gravel operation, as Mr. Wickham already has some materials set aside. After screening and washing, the sand is loaded for transport by truck to well sites. Sand will be mined, screened, and washed as the seasons and weather permit. Some sand will be stockpiled. We'll get into that a little bit later to provide availability in the off season. The operations are described in further detail in these following pages. We anticipate that this will create between 12 and 20 new jobs with competitive wages and also utilize local suppliers and contractors. It'll be a new source of tax revenue for the city, county, and the state. The owners of the land to be mined are local residents and see this project as a good and proper use of their property. The investors in this project are North Dakota natives and currently own and operate a variety of businesses in North Dakota and have been doing so for decades. So as I was saying, to go into the background a little bit, the ETJ we established was established in 2016. We tried to put this boundary on the map, and it's the orange dotted line. I can't really explain to you why the orange dotted line on your map in your handout is where it is and why it was bumped out. We've asked for some of that question. We've asked that question to some of the city, and the answer is kind of pretty murky. But that's why we're dealing with both the city and the county here. As can be seen on the date stamp map, the Wickham property has been an active sand and gravel operation. Like I said, it was overlooked when the other properties in the area, which you can see on this map and the subsequent maps, was not grandfathered in. And we also don't know why it was not grandfathered. Notwithstanding that oversight, we're still working with both entities here, the city and the county. We could not come to a resolution with the city and the county to say one or the other should have jurisdiction here. So we're presenting it to both committees for consideration. I wanted to say, though, that we have, in the process, we have contacted the DEQ, and the air quality permit has been approved, and the SWIP has been approved as well. They just depend on activating once the mine would actually be in progress. So, like I said, this area north and east of Williston is characterized by, with a number of sand and gravel operations that are abutting this property. So we don't feel like it's changing the character of the area. But we can talk about that more if you have any questions. The proposed mine process. We wanted to walk through this so you guys would understand of how this differs from the sand and gravel operations in the area and then anybody like an asphalt operation. It's quite different. So the sand will be mined in 5-acre segments and reclamation will begin upon completion. On this map, you can see there's a white box. So that's our 5-acre box. to the left, you can see there's an open sand mine there currently. It's a much bigger area. With this type of mining, they want to take the sand out and reclaim after they've done that, after they've mined that. So this isn't a project that would be an open mine for years and years. It's the property owners have the desire to reclaim that as soon as possible after removing that sand. So I think that's a major difference that would help alleviate any concerns of dust control. Material will be transported to the process facility by a slurry conveyor, eliminating dust and traffic from the on-site transportation. So they mix it with water and they put it on a conveyor belt and transport it to the site, to the processing site. The material then will be screened and run through a washing process. And then the washed material will be dried, put into a storage facility. The dried material will be stored inside a building, or they have 2 silos for driving trucks under that can load the trucks and then they can take away. Trucks will access the facility from the truck bypass on 85B onto the Cartwright Loop, a private road which Mr. Wickham maintains that road, and will be loaded then and exit on Cartwright Loop up to the truck bypass in 85B. And so we've got a little bit more of a map on the next page that'll help explain where they go. So the proposed mine process, the trucking process, we anticipate that 70 to 80% of the trucks, closer to 80, will go north to the truck bypass, utilize the bypass to go south of the lake or access Highway 2. We realize that there's residential areas to the south, which will represent kind of the blue line that they take going into Williston. We don't anticipate many of the trucks going that way, as there simply isn't, their business doesn't go that way. And we'd be willing to even do some dust mitigation on that road though. But let's get into dust mitigation. This project will operate under the applicable regulations of MSHA, including daily monitoring of silica dust in the sand and gravel mines. I also want to make a point to say here that when you hear about silica dust and what they've been using for fracking in the past, was the silica sand from Minnesota and Wisconsin is very high in silica because it's a quartz material. This is river sand. While there's significantly less silica in this sand, it does vary, but it's much less of that coarse material. So during the sand mining process, overburden removal will utilize conventional water trucks to minimize this dust. Excavation will be localized to a relatively small area, so like 5 acres at a time. Transport of sand from the point of excavation will be conveyed by the slurry process. And then drying, screening, storing, and loading of sand will be done more than 3/4 of a mile north of any of the subdivisions. We have engaged the North Dakota Safety Council, and they will be sending their industrial hygienist to the site, if approved, to advise us on additional best practices for dust mitigation. We also intended to utilize the NDSC to provide MSHA training, silica dust training, and other operational training for this project. In addition to dust control measures in the process, we have talked to the township, and we will continue to talk with the county to insist in dust mitigation outside of the boundaries of our project. We're aware that current residents have a dust problem, and we're willing to try to help with that on those roads. I would say too, that the sand being mined here is no different than any of those sand or open gravel pits that are there now. And it's really not any different than the gravel that they're pulling out and putting on those roads as we speak. So if we're talking silica dust, it's the same gravel they're using to pave the roads. We did want to address noise considerations. We tried to put together a list of what we would be using for the operation. It's a fairly simple operation. There's a dryer, a slurry pump, a dozer, a loader, and an excavator. When you adjust that for distance, when using a decibel meter, you can see that really what you're going to end up here with is more like a washing machine or maybe some traffic noise. So we also wanted to address the reclamation. As mentioned earlier, our plan is to mine in 5-acre segments. We do think that this addresses a lot of the issues with blowing sand. With reclamation, we'll follow right behind the mining operation. Like I said, the property owners do want this property reclaimed as fast as it can. In the case of the Wickham property, the Wickhams will be responsible for this reclamation and will be very motivated to complete it quickly. Reclamation will include trees along 55th Street and along the west side of the subdivision. They are willing to provide a bond if requested to do so to make sure that this work is done. And finally, any water table concerns that we've heard, the process is a closed loop system, meaning the water is reused and recycled to a pond on the Wickham's property. The distance from the processing operation to any wells owned that may be permitted, we're not aware of any that are state permitted wells in the area, but if there is any, they're more than a half a mile away. So really that's kind of the main part of the project, and we would be open to any and all questions.
Any questions
Thank
for
you.
Chris?
Yes, I do. When you talk about when you're mining, you're going to use a slurry system to convey it out so that it's less intrusive. When you go to reclaim, how are you getting the material back to the site to reclaim? Is that conveyed back also, or is that hauled, or how do you get the material back?
Yeah, my understanding is that the overburden is going to be piled in the 5-acre area just to the side of the 5-acre area, and that will be just brought back there by loader, and then it's not going to be moved very far. Yeah.
Right. I was just curious if you planned on using another conveyor to bring the reject material back, or if it was going to be more of a conventional kind of.
Oh, you mean once it's processed from the plant?
Yeah, the reclaim material.
No, it won't be conveyed back, but I think that'll be washed out because the real fine particles will be the sand itself. And then they would bring that back in trucks and loaders.
Other questions?
Yeah.
George, please.
Your storage of the sand and stuff after it's being processed, is it in a bag house that has filter system on it?
Is there a filter system on the bag?
Okay. And the flocculants that you're going to use for getting rid of the non silica sand, the other solids, what do you use there?
Could you repeat the question?
I was
Sorry.
asking about the flocculants that they use to separate the sand from the clays and stuff like that.
There isn't any.
Please state your name for the record, if you would, please.
Blaine Mosby.
Okay. And there's
There's no chemicals used to.
no chemicals?
No.
So you're
just water.
separating the clay some other way, like
Yeah.
screens or something?
Yeah, there really
Nice.
isn't. Oh, yeah.
What are you
Mark,
doing
go
for
ahead.
lighting and that type of stuff if you're gonna run 24/7?
We don't anticipate running 24/7. There will be lights, gets dark at 5 o'clock, in the winter. There'll be lights on around the processing area and the truck loadout area. But there's not gonna be any stadium lights where we're pulling the material from the mine.
So you're not gonna be loading at night or anything then?
We'll be loading trucks potentially after dark, and that'll be right along Cartwright Loop, and there will be lights at the scales so that we can load the trucks, if that makes sense.
How many trucks are you anticipating then?
We're anticipating somewhere around 60 to 80 trucks a day.
Other questions, Sherelle? Brett? James?
I have a question. Have you had any discussions with the residents surrounding the proposed mining area?
Yeah, we've had some conversations at the township meeting last week and kind of understood some of the concerns with dust and,
Yeah, I think I was not at the township meeting, but we also have tried to address a lot of the concerns in here. And one thing that we wanted to really we really understand is that we want this process obviously, and we don't want to overstep onto anybody else's land rights, even but the Wickhams want the ability to develop their land and then quickly reclaim it because they want to develop more out there too. They would want to return this back into, a zone where they can live and their children can live as well. So that's their plan for this afterwards. They just simply want to take out the sand and then reclaim it fast. Like I said, they want to plant the trees along the subdivision and maybe even build a pond there for water retention, which actually might help some of the residents in that subdivision because there was some issues with high water table that they had received flooding year after year. And so some of the residents were very hopeful that they would do that so the water would drain there instead of into their properties.
Other questions?
Yeah, I got another one. On the mining, on the pit mining itself, I didn't hear anybody, nobody said anything about how far a setback was from the closest neighboring property or, that kind of stuff.
yeah, the city requirement in the ETJ is 120 feet, I believe. I'd have to check and make sure that that's correct. But we're following all the requirements of the city and the county.
How deep do you plan on mining, right? I mean, is it gonna be, 20 foot and then reclaim back, or how deep do you plan on digging?
Yeah, most of it's around 20 feet. And then the city and the county also require, we're doing studies on the soil to, that dictates the slope. So it's not just gonna be a cliff. It'll be a slope, according to the requirements of the city and county.
I think Roger's, like I said, previously mined in that area too, and he's actually done a lot of reclamation on his current property where I think when he had someone look at it, they didn't even know that he had actually mined it there. So he is mindful of that, but we also are getting a plan approved by them and a stormwater plan too.
Other questions? So is it safe to say that this presentation is different than the one that was given to Farron Township?
I think it's just, I think it's just been addressed some of the concerns that maybe we didn't see better. The operation has not changed at all. It just maybe better expressed the concerns of some of the landowners in the township.
Okay, thank you. I have two other questions. First one is, we had a presentation earlier this winter on several of these operations to the east of town, down in the Red Mike area, down on the Nesson Flat. And on those, the company that was doing the frac sand mining was doing the reclamation. Why is the Wickham family doing this reclamation on this project? Why is this one different?
I can answer that. Because they have experience and they've done a really good job. So we contracted with them to do the reclamation to get the land put back the way they want it. So all you have to do is look at the industrial park that they've done previously in the area that he mined prior. That's as good or better than we could do. So.
Okay, thank you. And would you go back to the final depth, once you've taken the sand out? Would you reiterate what the depth will be and how much topsoil will be in those areas?
The depth of the sand, we believe, is going to average around 20 to 25 feet. And you're asking what the depth of the topsoil is?
What is the final depth going to be versus what it is now?
Oh, I would defer that to the family because they're doing the reclamation.
Roger, do you have an answer for that, please? Okay, but so will we have 20-foot, but
Please, Mike.
Will you go to the front?
please come up, would you, Roger?
I think it'll be similar to the other sand and gravel operations in the area.
Just have a scraper stripping the topsoil, piling that.
Like for the record, Roger Wickham's at the microphone.
We'll strip the topsoil with a paddle scraper, pile that, and then come back and then strip the clay, pile that, and then mine the sand. I won't, but they will. And then we'll come back, put the scraper it up, drop it, level that, put the topsoil back on.
Okay, so if I could reiterate the question then, right now we're at this level. Let's say we're at this level.
Right.
When you're all done, what level will you be at? Will you be 20 feet lower, 25 feet lower?
19 or, whatever.
Whatever's left.
Whatever is existing, that's what it'll be. If it's 1.5 feet, we'll put in 1.5 feet fill. So it's going to be low, way low.
Oh, that's the heart of my question.
No, yeah, it'll be, we're only going to put back whatever we took off the top. So it'll be low.
So it will not be homes adjacent, it will not be homes in a future use or anything like that. Okay, thanks for coming up, Roger. Anyone else before we ask for other comments? Anybody else wish to speak to this issue? Please come forward, state your name for the record.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Leah Dunn. I live out in this area, and I just had a few questions that I wanted to kind of put out there, and maybe they can answer them when I'm done speaking. One thing I heard tonight was that they're only going to run, they're not going to run 24/7, 365 days. The narrative I've read says that they will be running 24/7, 365 days a year. Just want to clarify if that's actually what's happening or if they're only running between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. as the narrative states, or 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. as they stated at the township meeting. That's another question. Decibels of noise. I have heard two different classifications, and I think tonight we actually heard a completely separate one. What did we hear tonight? So I've heard that the decibels of noise are going to be 100 decibels. Then I've heard that they might be 120. So I'd like to know exactly what they're going to be up next to this facility, because I hear the races every Friday and Saturday night. I can't sit out in my yard because I can hear the hum of the races 3 miles away. This facility is going to be a mile from my home. So is it going to be the same as those races? And that's going to be 24/7, 365 days a year from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'm still unclear as to the remediation process. So you're going to have a large hole in the ground. What's the slant on that? Are we going to be worried about this filling up with water? Do we now need to worry about our children playing in this area? What happens when they run out of water? Where do they get it? Are they going to take it out of the Little Muddy, which is literally over the corner or around the corner? You asked the question, where will the level be after the removal? I don't think that we got a clear answer on that. I'm concerned that we're sending traffic down 85B, which is a temporary bypass. I don't know if it can handle another 80 trucks. That's another question. The first time we talked, there were only going to be 70 trucks. Now we are up to 80. I had something else. The mining depth. I've heard a couple of different depths at this point. During the township meeting, it was 40. There are water wells out there that are less than 40 feet. I'm concerned what it's going to do to our water table out there. I'm concerned that there might be leakage or seepage and that it might contaminate our water out there. I also don't know if I fully understand how they think an uphill pond is going to help people downhill with water retention. I know that Missouri Meadows floods sometimes. They are built in a floodplain. They built in that floodplain. That is exactly what that was when that was built. They have done remediation. They have done things to clear up that water issue, but building and digging out sand in a piece of land that's uphill from that subdivision is not going to help the water at all whatsoever in that situation. We also had a conversation during the township board about values on homes. That is a real concern. I think that we're going to have a slight decline in home purchases out there. People aren't going to want to live next to this. You're not going to want this in your backyard. And so that's my last question to you as a board. Would you want this in your backyard? Think about that when you make this decision. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question, please, before you walk away?
Yes, Dan, sorry.
Obviously, you have a home in the area.
Yes,
And how close are you?
I'm a little under a mile, I believe, from the actual corner or from the processing plant.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chair. My name is Ray Pacheco, and I have lived in Williston for almost 13 years, and I've lived in that the Blackwood Estates subdivision for 11 of those years. I gave you a letter with 26 concerns regarding this request. My first point, and I want to share this with you, and something that after discussing this project with city staff and county staff, my first comment is that this is spot zoning. This is a request that is blatant, obvious, and spot zoning is against your land use plan and the comprehensive plan. By allowing this to happen tonight and or through the city and the county voting, if this goes through, this will take your land use plan and comprehensive plans and throw them out the window. I'm used to doing this. I've done this before, so I know the impact that this could have if this request is granted. One of the things that you are by state Century Code are required to vote on is the health, safety, and welfare of the benefit of this project, or any project that goes on in the county. The dust is a major problem, and I know for a fact that if this goes through, there will be more dust problems. The value of our homes will decline. And I don't want to wake up in 5 years or 10 years with lung cancer and anything other things that may come from all the other chemicals that are being coming through. According to their letter, let me read the project description. There are quite a few things that they say, and the young lady that came up here a few minutes ago voiced a few of them, that they said that they won't be running 24 hours a day, but in their letter, their project description letter, they say that they are running 24 hours a day. They said in their letter that if I can read some of what they said, if you'll bear with me. It says, according to the applicant's letter, it is expected that 40% of the annual sand volume will be transported from July through October. The sand excavation activities are expected to operate spring through fall, which we all know is March through October. This is an eight months out of the year. The next comment is, when will the remaining 60% of the operations take place? Is that during the 4 months that are not listed here? Some of the comments from the DEQ report say that chemicals that will be mixed in the sand are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide. So when is this and that this could be part of the particles and chemicals that are released into the air? There are a lot of questions that I thought would be answered by the applicant, and they're not, or they have not been. My question to the county is this, are you ready for an estimated 490 trucks a week on your county road? This is close to over 2,000 trucks a month on this county road. Anybody who's familiar with County Road 9 heading north and the bridge 57th Street West, if you get to that intersection and you want to turn left to go to Love's, and there's a semi truck coming heading east on 57 to turn south on County Road 9, one of you has to stop and one of you has to get out of the way for the other person. I've been up that road. I live up that road. I've been up there 1,000 times, and I've met a lot of semi trucks at that intersection. And if they get there first, I literally have to park back 20, 30 yards to let them to make that full turn. There's no way that more trucks can be added to that intersection. What I'd like to know is what the weight would be of each those trucks, if they're carrying wet sand, dry sand, and if that's the impact that's going to have on that road, and if the county is going to have how the applicant do anything to fix those roads and mitigate those roads and make those roads safer, or is that going to fall on all the taxpayers behind me? I don't want to go through all 26 points because that would take another hour, but I want to know, my biggest concern is the inadequacy or the inconsistency, I should say, of the information that was shared with us by the applicant and his attorney. The fact that those mines those gravel pits have been there for longer than I lived in Williston, North Dakota. I remember a few years ago, somebody had a question about Knife River's gravel and sand and everything that's out there. And I think it was this planning commission told me that had been there for 20 plus years before I even existed in Williston. Just because one thing or two things are grandfathered in, that should not justify you allowing another non-conforming use, another land use to happen, because that's going to affect everybody here that's in opposition to this. The applicant said that the traffic will not flow southward on County Road 9. I'm lucky to say that I've lived through 2 almost head-on collisions with trucks going northbound while I turned southbound. And so the amount of traffic that's going to be added to our road, our county road, will be more than I think most of us will want to deal with. I think the biggest thing that I'm concerned with, and is the diminishing of the quality of life that I'm now used to living in rural Williston, North Dakota, and in Williams County. We deal with the dust. We deal with the noise for the race is something you can live with. The noise from things that go on at the fairgrounds you can live with. Okay, but the constant traffic and noise that's going to happen. I have a friend that runs the gravel pit out in Sydney, down in Montana, and his comment to me was, this will cause a lot of dust in your neighborhood. You'll have constant truck traffic. If we do have 20 trucks running 24 hours a day, there will be a need for lights. And so I don't completely agree with what the applicant said about there will be no lights and there will be no 24 hours. They need to be consistent in what they're telling us. And according to some of the things that they said just recently, it's inconsistent with what's in their letter. So I would ask that you would deny this request and let us keep living the way we have been for the last, at least in my lifetime, for the last 12 years, and people behind me, I think, for a little bit longer, and let us enjoy our life the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Please come forward, sir.
Hello, my name's Rocky Belgard, guys. I live on 55th Street, and the proposal, this piece of it, doesn't adjoin my property, but the upcoming requests are gonna. This whole deal, from what I understand, is somewhere around 400 and some acres total. That's gonna come before the commission. I am bordered on two sides. You asked the young lady how far away she is. I'm adjoining on two sides. I have a 40-acre piece, okay? And I'm concerned about all the stuff that's been talked about here. You guys done a really good job touching on some of my concerns. Where's the water coming from for this slurry? The wells, my wells are 60 feet. And if you remove 25 feet of sand from these mining areas, it's going to be the same aquifer. Now, look how close we're getting to that water. And I'm worried about contamination, of course. As far as the natural flow of water, runoff, et cetera, in the spring, yeah, I was wondering if anyone had done a good job of anticipating if this project goes through, where's all that going to wind up? And like the young lady said, we're going to have a big swamp out there. The Muddy Creek is about a mile or so away. You dig 25 feet of sand out there, you might have water coming at you that you can't stop. And it's a lake forever. Don't know. Just guessing. The traffic, yeah, what we've seen in paperwork, 70 loads in a 12-hour period. That's 70 loads. That means times 2 trucks in and out, right? That's not 70 trucks. That's 140. And that's pretty minimal. We got school buses. We got the gravel road problems. We've had nothing but dust. My first year of living on the place that I live at, 1968. So if you want to know what it looked like before those gravel pits were there, ask me. Okay? Because I can tell you. But I just wanted to come and reiterate, I don't blame Wickham's for wanting to try to do something like this, but it's going to be bad for the rest of us out there in the community. The dust already. And they talk about the noise. You know what you hear? Backup alarms. That's what you hear. Yeah. So I just wanted to come here and voice my opinions, and I would hope that the commission might not approve this, because we're looking at, like I said, by the time this is done, I have letters at home that for the 19th is the next ones after today, and that's bigger pieces of property. That would be the one that adjoins me on the north. The ones we're gonna hear tonight adjoin me on the west. Okay, so the 120 feet from my property line, the fence that holds my animals in, probably too close as far as I'm concerned. I thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Belgrade? Thank you, Rocky.
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Commission. My name is Shelby Evans. My family, along with a bunch of other families in Missouri Meadows, we have a bus stop that is right above one of their proposed mines, which it's not on this map. What are they going to do about that? Are they going to leave that there? There's going to be how many kids that could potentially, I mean, it's a risk to have all of your kids right by that. So yeah, that's just my concern is the kids.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Momchilo Babik. I live in the area. The reason I'm here tonight is to ask you a simple question. When people move to the county, why do they move to the county outside of a city? We want peace. We want quiet. We want to have people who are like-minded like we are. Bringing a production like this puts everything that we have worked for, everything that we have fought for to achieve in our lives at risk in a matter of minutes. It's that simple to us. Can I look behind me? I can ask these people to raise a hand if they're here to just oppose this proposal. And about half of this audience that y'all have tonight would raise their hand, if not more. That's on top of everything else that we have done to tell simply we do not want this in our neighborhood. We don't want it. It's not benefiting anybody except one family in this case, or a couple of small families, at a cost of $150, $160. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I ask you in the name of all of us from the neighborhood, please reject this deal. It's not going to bring anything good. And ask yourselves, would you want a truck driving by your house every 9 minutes? Thank y'all.
Any questions for the speaker? Thank you, sir. Please come forward.
How's it going? Max Chavez. So I bought my house out there because it was built in 1950. And I really loved the fact that it had been a part of that part of the town that long. Excuse me, I am a little excited about this. I haven't been contacted by them at all. I'm not a part of the subdivision out there. I am the very first house that's out there off 55th. And again, I haven't been contacted about any of it. It's all been just subdivision. Sorry. I want to reiterate that the pond that they're saying that they're going to do, it's not required. That was a personal vendetta that they had brought up in the town meeting. There also is no beautification requirements for this project. With just the shop that I work at, it's very, very small. And we had to plant trees all around the perimeter of the whole place. And I don't see any of that happening for this project at all, if passed. So I would like y'all to consider it, if passed, that they do an extensive beautification process, not just a few trees on 55th and whatever they're saying. I'm less than a half mile from that processing plant, so that's not great. You know, I'm worried about just everything like everybody else. This is in my front yard, not my backyard, and it will surround my house with the phase 2. So, totally against this junk. It's all junk. I believe they're blowing a bunch of smoke. Shoot, I hope y'all deny it. I truly do. I think there's nothing set, because they did state at the township meeting they were gonna go to 40 feet. Now it's 25 feet. There's no set numbers. Nothing is concrete. They're going about it pretty damn fast. I would like to see a lot more numbers to be just, set. Set in writing. They're just gonna do as they damn well please. If it is passed, they'll do as they please. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Thanks. Anybody else?
My name's Steve Rayhawk. I live out in Blackwood Estates. And Judge, there's been a lot of stuff right here that's been talked about already, so I'm not going to go over it. I had the same thing on my list, but
Thank you, Steve.
yeah, you're welcome, Dan. The one thing that I noticed when they were giving their presentation, it just said sand and gravel, sand and gravel. And just one time they said the silicon sand or the silica. And that, when we were at the township meeting, that's what they were saying. And one of the presentators said that the sand and gravel is not any different than the silica mine. Well, the silica mine is way different than the sand and gravel mine. And sand and gravel is going to give you a lot of dust, and maybe there's a little bit of silica in it, but they're not after that. I think they're after the silica for the fracking. And with that being said, silica sand, the dust from silica sand, which may not be as much because they're trying to get some of it taken care of, but there's going to be some silica dust. And silica dust creates a problem in your lungs called silicosis, and it's unrepairable, and it's considered, you never can get rid of it. It's a done deal. So that's one of the big things I'm concerned about with all these people back here. They got a lot of little kids and things, and they're going to be 100 feet from this thing. And you can say what you want, but there's going to be dust, and there's going to be silica dust in there. Like I said, when we talked about it at the township meeting, it was a silica mine, not a sand and gravel mine. Also, we went from the deepest they were going to go, we went from 42 feet down to, or up to 20 feet. Well, my well out there is at about 42 or 43 feet. I'm concerned that the aquifer is going to be hit, and I'm no engineer as far as water, but it stands to reason if you hit the aquifer, there's going to be something happening down the line. So I'm concerned about that. So I guess one of the main things that I'm really concerned about is the traffic. I mean, we got traffic there now that's they can be a quarter of a mile away, and they're catching you when you pull out, and they're catching you. And most of them are bigger trucks, and they're moving. Silica, when they're hauling them to the rigs, I believe most of them are paid by the load. And if it's paid by the load, which I believe that's right, the faster they can get there and the faster they can get back, the more money they're going to make. And I think that's going to cause a big problem there, because right now we got a problem anyway on that road. So with that said, I'm firmly against this, and I thank you for letting me speak.
Any questions for Steve? Thanks for coming up. Anybody else that has something different to say? I think we're gonna take the young lady in the front row first, and we'll work our way back to you.
My name is Jackie Shelton. I live on the corner of 55th and 133rd, and I'm going to throw you guys a curveball. I'm not opposed to this. I don't really care if it happens or if it doesn't happen. My well's 88 feet. I have livestock at my house. I have kids that run around. Let's do something different. There's sand mine on 85B to the west. There's been one on 85B to the east since I've lived out there 15 years. So they're going to dig it out, they're going to put soil back, and what are they going to do? Put some houses on there afterwards? If they didn't mine it for sand and they just put houses out there, that's a 5 to 10 year project to build 100 more houses. It's going to be sand, dirt, dust, trucks, equipment, excavation, the whole nine. No different. Their mill is way off over there. Do I really want one? I don't know if that's my say. Do I care if it's there? No, not really. I think that's all I got.
Next.
Hello, my name is Ryan Keene. I am a board member of Farron Township, newly elected. I just wanted to give you guys this petition here. There's 264 signatures of residents in the Farron Township that are opposing this mine. And I had a couple questions for Basin Sand. How long has Basin Sand been in business?
Please speak into the mic.
How long has Basin Sand been in business? Since January. Is that probably accurate? Where's Diamond B Resources based out of? Billings, Montana. Okay. As a father and a homeowner in the area, I am against this, and I hope that you guys support us as well. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Steve Schofield. I live about 200 yards, 300 yards south of the mine that's out there right now on the west side of 85B. And when he said that the noise is about like a wash machine, well, my wash machine runs at 37 decibels. I just Googled a cat runs at 120 decibels. And when them cats are running on, they're 200 to 300 yards away from me, and you cannot have a conversation in my backyard. It's impossible. And that's been going on for 5 years. They've been done mining there for 2 years, and they haven't reclaimed anything. It's still raw. I took pictures of it last week. You cannot see 100 yards. It's just solid sand. And, you know, just ask yourself, would you like to live next to a 25 to 40-foot hole? I'm going to lose anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 on my house if this goes through. I'm planning on selling in about 3 years, and nobody's going to want to buy my house. I thank you for your time.
Questions for Steve? Thank you. Anybody else? Let's start with the man on the, you want to give up your spot? Thank you. We don't want any fights about who comes down first.
My name's Andrew Allen. I live in the Blackwood Estates subdivision. Me and my family have been out there for a few years. We had lightning strike our house and burn it down, but we rebuilt out there because we love the area so much. Where our spot is, we can see right across the county road. It's a nice field and everything. Their proposed mine and their second setup is going to just destroy everything that we have out there. We've got friends and family and stuff that are across the way. And it's hard to sound like a broken record as far as like, you know, we're all concerned about the traffic. We're all concerned about the noise. As far as dust mitigation and stuff goes with an open pit mine, it's like back in the 20s or whatever when they had the Dust Bowl. Once you take that top layer off, there's nothing that's going to stop, 30-mile-an-hour winds, which are extremely common out there almost weekly, from kicking all that dust and stuff in the air. And we're all going to breathe it. We all fight it already, but it's just going to make it that much worse. Other than that, I mean, it's the same thing. We all have big concerns with it, and I hope you turn it down.
Thank you. Any questions for Andrew? Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, one more.
My name is Chelsea Crowell, and I also live in Farron Township, and I am the clerk treasurer on the Farron Township Board. Mostly everything's been discussed at this point. I just wanted to point out a few more things that weren't heavily discussed, which would be one, the water. Where are they getting water from? Blaine discussed that they drilled 30 to 40 feet and did a test, and they didn't hit water, he said, in their test hole. Our residents that have wells from 16 feet up to 32 feet and deeper have wells. They get water. So there is water in the water table that they're saying they didn't find. So when they're digging these ponds, they're going to get water somewhere. The retention ponds are going to be 30 feet off of neighbors' backyards. It has to be 125 feet from their doorstep, their home, but their backyards go up to this. So it's going to be 30 feet from their property line. So that was left out. I think a lot of things have been left out that they don't want to talk about unless it's brought up. There are, from my research, with just the neighborhoods, which don't include farmsteads, houses that aren't in neighborhoods or anything on Cartwright Loop, there is 199 homes within 1 mile or 3/4 of a mile of their mining area. So I just think that's something to consider. Our homes and our home evaluations that are going to drop 13 to 30%. I mean, there is no statistics because it's not really a thing to be that close to this kind of operation in North Dakota. It hasn't been relevant that we are aware of. They do say they have operations in Ray, but Ray has 80 people that live there, and they're not doing the dryers and the frac sand at that location. So, and that was what was presented to us at Farron. Our kids, their safety, our kids play in the streets, they ride their bikes, they ride their four-wheelers, we live in the country, and when you add that many trucks, I mean, it's a safety concern. There's no turnoffs or turning lanes or shoulders even going into our residence, and where they're going to be getting the sand from is on both sides of where we turn into our neighborhood. So 200 residents, they all turn right into the middle of it. So I understand they say the trucks won't be there, but I mean, there's going to be loaders, there's going to be traffic, there's going to be other operations that are going to be there. And we don't need to discuss the sand and the dust, but it blows 55 miles an hour here consistently, oftenly. And just the other day we walked outside and you couldn't even be outside because it was so dusty. We already have enough problems, and that doesn't mean we need to add more to the problem. So that's it.
Any questions for Chelsea? Thanks for coming up. Any other comments? Please. At some point, if we become repetitive, we're going to cut it off because we have 2 more applications to go through.
Hi, I'm Christina Ballard. I'm a resident out there. I have a question on something that hasn't been brought up, and I don't know a lot of information about this, but we had a gentleman that had asked about what they plan on doing with the micro waste when they're sluicing with the water, and they didn't have an answer. They said when they came, they would have more information for us, and this has not been brought up yet. So I am curious as to what that process is. And then also they had mentioned something about an EPA permit not being done with the pollution, wildlife, water, lights. So I don't think that was brought up as much as it was at the other meeting.
Questions?
And I deny it also.
Thank you. Okay. Please come up.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Andrea Plaker, and I do want to talk about one thing that hasn't been brought up, and that's the revenue for this project. I asked at the township meeting what the projected revenue was going to be. And, you know, obviously, I don't know that we can answer that. But my concern is if property values decline, folks start moving out of the area, nobody starts buying there. For those of us who are left, that means less tax dollars for the repairs of the township, which we already are having a hard time taking care of right now. So that's my question is what is the projected revenue of this project? And how is that going to affect the township and us being able to take care of things?
Okay, any questions for her? Thank you. Okay, let's ask one more time if there's any comments.
I'm not going to repeat everything everybody said. Okay, Megan Clark and I live off 55th, and same concerns everybody else had. I have one that's a little more regarding my own kid. I have a kid that's immune compromised with heart conditions, and him being outside breathing this in, he's already been hospitalized several times this year. So just the extra silica sand, they say there isn't going to be, but there's going to be a lot of silica sand, which is a carcinogenic. So that's
Okay.
it.
Any questions? Thank you. Okay, if there's no other comments, I'm going to close the public hearing. Please.
My name is Ryan Ellis, and I actually own the field on the right there. The problem I have with any of this is, so if I ever want to do anything with that field, not with this project, but just with all the comments, is none of the houses, Rocky's place was there, and Leah grew up out there, but now I have to ask permission to all the people that have moved out there. You know, we own this land, Wickham's have owned this land. And yeah, there's a lot more going on out there than when I was growing up. Our place is just to the north, but it's a little hard for me to listen to everybody else telling us what we're allowed to do with our own property. So that's the only, at least with this one in question, there's a pretty big area away from homes. The ones that are coming up, I believe, further are further south, but the next two items. But anyway, it's just being told what we're allowed to do with our own property is a little bit disheartening, I guess, in the end. So that's all I have to say. I'm neutral. Well, I'm not neutral. If they want to be able to do it and it's far enough away in this picture, if there's a hole in the ground, I mean, it's not their property. It's Wickham's. So anyway, thank you.
Questions for Ryan? Thanks, Ryan. Anyone else?
I have to push this. No, okay. Well, my name is Billy Quinn. I live on 55th. It's more of the same, but just kind of like hitting on what Ellis said. Like, you can't go out there and build a garage without getting city approval. So we all deal with having to go through these processes and to do whatever we want on our own land. So this affects a lot. Somebody sold that land to us. We built on it. We moved out there. We did all the stuff we had to do, going through the city, the zoning, and we put a lot of money in out there. Our yards, our families. And this would affect a lot more people than just the people who own the major acreages and everything out there. So it would be nice if we all can just live out there and be peaceful and not have the extra dust. And County Road 9, somebody already brought it up, but County Road 9 just potholes all the way to Highway 2 already. And the average rate of a semi with a full load of sand somewhere like 100,000. So it's just going to add to the problem we have out there. But yeah, I mean, not being able to do exactly what you want with your land, it sucks. But yeah, we all got to go through this process. And that's kind of all I got to add.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions? Thanks for coming up.
Thank you guys.
I think we'll close the public hearing if there's nobody with anything new or urgent to say, and we'll move on to the other projects after we finish up this one, so. Hearing's closed. Commissioners, thoughts, wishes? How would you like to proceed? I know you're not used to working this hard on this board. Since about 3 weeks ago.
I'll make a motion to deny.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Further discussion?
This just is not a good location for a project like this.
Come sit with me.
I'm holding this down. Is it working? Yes.
I can hear you.
This is just not a good location. I mean, it's unfortunate that people who, I mean, these people have owned this land for a long time, and I'm sure at one time it was completely in the country. That's all changed. There's all kinds of residential stuff out there now, and that road is dangerous, and putting all these semis on that road is not a good idea. So, yeah.
Thank you, Sherelle. Anybody else?
You know, you reiterate at all these meetings that a lot of this stuff doesn't affect us sitting on the board. It's the people out there that we listen to, that we represent. And I think that's what we've got to look at, what it does to their lifestyle and, you know, what they're living in stuff. So that's where I sit.
Thank you, Mark. Ryan, in answer to just a comment on your final comment, one of the basic parts of planning and zoning, one of the bases for planning and zoning, and I used to have this conversation with Mackenzie County commissioners when they had no planning and zoning. And members of that board, if they wanted to build a truck stop in their front yard, they were going to build a truck stop in their yard. But to me, the basis of planning and zoning is your freedom ends where mine begins. It's just that simple. And that's kind of the whole basis of what I believe in planning and zoning. But I appreciate your bringing that up. Thank you.
Well, I agree completely with Mr. Ellis about personal property rights, but I have it bothers me a little bit, but I do agree with the comments of the community out there that at some point you got to weigh the benefits or even the the minuses, and there's just entirely too many negatives for me, even being a real big personal property guy, but I don't feel comfortable with it. But
Thank you, Barry. Anybody else? The question that I have, there was some conversation about petitions. Were those petitions filed with the county?
We do have them in your staff packet for the last one.
Okay.
It was just a private entity who started the petition, but they did give us a copy and it is supplied in your packet.
Okay, well, I haven't shoveled down that far yet, talking about 20 or 30 feet
Yeah,
deep.
no, I just put it in with the conditional use permit one, along with all of the letters that we have received as well.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Eric? I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Yes? Brett?
Yes.
Barry?
yes.
James?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Sherelle?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes, motion carries. Next project.
Okay, so this next one, much like the one that we just heard, It is LU-0022-25. Same applicants as before. The location on this one is MS 23-0002, also located in Section 29, Township 155 North, Range 100 West, again, Farron Township, and they have recommended denial on this particular project. So the applicants are requesting a zone change and a variance for one lot. The lot is currently vacant land within the rural commercial zoning district. The lot is approximately 25.01 acres. The applicant is requesting the zone change to agricultural zoning district. The variance is to allow for the zone change of the parcel as it does not meet the minimum required acreage for the agricultural zoning district. Purpose of this zone change and variance is for a potential sand and gravel pit located on the property. Access to the parcel as it currently sits is off of 55th Street Northwest.
Any questions for Michelle? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments on this one? Are they any different than the previous comments? Okay, well, we'll just make note of that, okay? Any other comments differing from the last one? It's, I'm not making light of the seriousness of by any minute. I'm just trying to ease some of the tension. Any other comments? Anything from the applicants? Third and final time. Closing the public hearing. Commissioners?
Make it a notion to deny with staff comments, please.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sherelle. Any other comments? If I have this right, Michelle, this parcel is to the northwest of the subdivision, correct?
Correct,
I
yes.
just wanted to point that out.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Brett,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes, motion carries. Next application.
Okay, so the final application we have tonight is LU-0023-25. This is the same applicants as before. However, this is the conditional use permit portion of it, which will to operate a sand and gravel pit within the agricultural zoning district. This is located within lots 4R and 5R, Block 2 of Ponderosa Subdivision, First Edition amended, a re-subdivision of Lot 6, Block 2, and MS 23-0002, all located within Section 29, Township 155 North, Range 100 West, which is Farron Township, and they did recommend denial on this as well. So the applicant is requesting the conditional use permit to operate a sand and gravel pit within the agricultural zoning district. Subject property is approximately 44.91 acres on this particular portion. This is a joint project between the City of Williston within their ETJ and Williams County. At this time, this is just for the 3 lots as stated above and shown within the mapping. The entire scope of this project, including the City of Williston portion, will include a processing facility where the sand and gravel will be processed and sold to third-party entities. Within the jurisdiction of Williams County, it will only be the mining operation portion. The applicant intends to mine approximately 5 acres at a time, and for reclamation, they plan to replace and refill with clay, then stockpiled topsoil. They will use a slurry system to transport the product from the mining locations to the processing plant. According to the applicant, they do anticipate this to be a 5 to 10 year project, which would also include a phase 2 that would have to come back in front of the board if they so choose to. Once the project was up and running, the applicant anticipates an average of 80 trucks per day. All trucks would enter the project site off Cartwright Loop into Lot 4R, then proceed south into the southwest of Section 29, then west to the processing facility and exit to the north through Lot 8, Block 2 of Ponderosa Subdivision, First Edition, back onto Cartwright Loop. From Cartwright Loop, the applicant states that the truck traffic will be directed north away from the residential area that is located to the south. Access to the project site is taken off of Cartwright Loop, and this conditional use permit is going to be contingent on, of course, the approval or denial on the zone change as well.
Questions for Michelle? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments on this one? Please, sir.
Hey, Max Chavez, you know, still against it, obviously. I would like you to zoom in on this map, just a bit there. And if you'd come down, right there, right below that pink, just above, left, right there. That's my property. I will be surrounded by this, as I stated, because they plan to do the 40 acres right in front of my house, and that pink, and then the 30-something on the other side of the road. It sucks. Whatever. I would just like to state that at the township, they did say that they have never done any of this. They move sand in their other operations. They haven't done any of this kind of mining, and that hasn't been brought up. So that sounds like a lot of trial and error to me. And again, water, all that good stuff. Thank you.
Any questions for the speaker? Thanks for coming up. Anyone else? Yes, sir, one more time.
Rocky Belgard again, Commission. This conditional use permit, that's based on, you guys would have approved the other two zoning changes, correct? So this is sort of like, it ain't gonna happen anyway, right? Because
Sometimes things happen that you don't expect.
okay. I just wanted to make sure of that. Again, that same picture there, there's my 40 in there. They're on that side of me. They're gonna be on the north side of me too. The next time you have another commission meeting involved in this, they're after that, stuff on the north too. I believe that's dated for the 19th. So.
Is that the one at the city of Williston, Rocky?
I'm not sure about that, no. Exactly, it's the same thing though, I believe. It was the Diamond B Company, et cetera, so.
Yeah, Monday the 19th is the properties that are within the city ETJ.
Okay, thank you.
That's where another several hundred acres is gonna try to become part of this. So it's been split in half, sort of. Appreciate it, thank you.
Yep, thanks for coming up, Rocky. Anything further? Close the public hearing. Commissioners, thoughts, wishes?
I move to deny this request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Barry,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes, motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank everyone for coming in tonight, for being polite and considerate and expressing your wishes. Thank you. Is there anything further? Any other items? Do
No other current items, no.
we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I'd just like to thank all you gentlemen, ladies,